Hello, my dear followers, and welcome back to Turkish Series Stars. I'm thrilled you're here today because, truly, we have a story that will have you leaning closer to your screens. We're diving into the saga of two names that have held audiences spellbound for years, Hazal Subaşı and Erkan Meriç. And today, brace yourselves, because we're unpacking the powerful truths Hazal has recently shared about her relationship with Erkan. If these two Turkish favorites have ever stolen your heart, this one is for you. Before we jump into the whirlwind, make sure you're subscribed to Turkish Series Stars and turn on notifications so you never miss our exclusives. We love having you in this family. Let's rewind to how this all began. When Hazal and Erkan met on the set of Adini Sinkoy, something electric happened. Their screen partnership clicked instantly, the kind of chemistry that doesn't just make a show popular. It makes it a phenomenon. As Zara and Omer, they captured a timeless romance, and fans everywhere couldn't help but wonder if that tenderness was more than scripted. It turned out, it was. Soon enough, what we were witnessing on television bled into real life, and the two of them became Turkey's dream couple, a symbol of modern fairytale love. They appeared side by side at events, their comfort with each other unmistakable, and their photos from set breaks and getaways ignited a hurricane of affection online. For a while, it really did feel like the universe had handed us proof that love could be written twice, once by writers, and once by fate. But as we all know, fame has a way of reshaping everything it touches. Today, we're focusing on what Hazal has recently revealed. Comments that created a wave across both Turkish media and the international press. In a candid conversation, she pulled back the curtain on what it was like to be one half of the most watched couple of that moment and how the glare of the spotlight reshaped her sense of self, her choices, and her career. She said the attention grew so relentless that her work, her craft, the thing she's poured herself into for years, started to sink behind the constant noise. Hazal, who has always wanted her talent and dedication to speak louder than anything else, felt herself reduced to a label, Erkan's girlfriend. Imagine the sting for someone who has trained, auditioned, fought for good scripts, and built a body of work brick by brick, only to feel overshadowed by a narrative she couldn't control. She didn't deny that there was love, and she didn't deny the beautiful memories. But she made it clear that the pressure surrounding them, flashing cameras, intrusive questions, whispered speculations, slowly added a weight she found harder and harder to carry. At some point, that pressure began to gnaw at her confidence. Instead of spending her energy on rehearsals, script analysis, and pushing toward roles that would challenge her, she found herself strategizing how to move through airports without causing a frenzy, how to exit restaurants unnoticed, how to phrase a caption so it wouldn't ignite a rumor. She admitted there were times she looked into the crowd and sensed the audience saw only a half of a pair, not a full artist with her own creative pulse, her own voice. It's an emotional reality many stars, especially women, quietly shoulder. There's an unspoken expectation to glide effortlessly through public life with a smile while also advancing professionally, constantly, without missing a beat. The collision of those demands can be brutal. Hazal spoke about drawing boundaries, real ones, and learning to separate the personal from the professional so that the heart could breathe and the work could regain its center. She hinted that there were projects she hesitated over, or opportunities she let pass, because the atmosphere around their relationship complicated the simplest choices. For those watching from the outside, this is a startling confession, because it forces us to wonder how many careers shift course under currents the public never sees. And yet she didn't frame it as a tragedy. She called that time a chapter, meaningful and textured, one that taught her a great deal. There were days of laughter and quiet joy, stolen moments when fame seemed to stand still, and she made it clear she holds those memories gently. Now, with the distance that time gives, she can map the arc of that relationship and understand how the rise of fame shaped it. Her intention going forward is crystal clear: she wants her work to do the talking. She wants to be recognized for the characters she brings to life, the vulnerability of Zara, the strength she's shown in other roles, not just for the headlines that once surrounded her. Another striking piece of what she shared was about how she and Erkan tried, again and again, to keep parts of their world private. They took detours, kept their phones dark sometimes, picked out quiet spots for coffee. But the lens found them anyway. It was like living inside a bubble with thin, transparent walls where every step, every look, every pause became a story. That kind of surveillance can flatten a relationship, pressing it into a performance instead of letting it be an ongoing, evolving dialogue between two people. The fantasy the public wraps around a couple can be intoxicating, but it can also become a cage. She also addressed the tidal wave of expectations. Fans fell in love with the fantasy of forever. They projected the permanence of Zara and Omer onto Hazal and Erkan, and that devotion, while beautiful, carried an unspoken contract: stay together, always. When the relationship ended, the backlash arrived, wrapped in disappointment and endless theories. Hazal didn't scold anyone for caring. In fact, she said she understood the affection at the heart of it. But she also pointed out, with careful honesty, that human relationships aren't scripted. They don't move neatly from plot point to plot point. They are messy, they breathe, they surprise us, and sometimes they end because growth requires it. By speaking about it openly, Hazal chose candor over mystery, knowing full well that silence often feeds louder myths. So what does this all mean for her next chapter? According to Hazal, it means strength. It means clarity. It means turning back toward the work with focus sharpened by experience. She's embracing roles that demand more of her, projects that stretch beyond comfort zones, collaborations that let her experiment with genre and style. The message is quiet but firm: her talent is the spine of her public life, and that is what she wants us to see most clearly. And though today's discussion centers on what she felt and learned, there's a respectful acknowledgement that Erkan has his own journey, his own reflections, his own path through and beyond the spotlight. Let's not forget how seismic the Adini Sinkoi phenomenon was. It didn't just win ratings, it overflowed borders. Clips spread across fan pages from Latin America to the Middle East, and message boards buzzed with theories, edits, and translations. So much of that momentum came from the way Hazal and Erkan lit up the screen together. As Zara and Omer, they became iconic, a pair people rooted for with their whole hearts. That collective passion fueled the media frenzy that followed, and although it was a gift in many ways, it also created the backdrop for the pressures Hazal has now explained with such candor. Public adoration can be a cushion, but it can also be a mirror that reflects only what the crowd wants to see. In her reflections, Hazal spoke about recalibrating her inner compass. She talked about returning to acting classes, seeking mentors, and reading scripts with new questions in mind. Does this role scare me? Does it teach me something new? Does it have room for truth instead of just spectacle? She said that in the quiet after the breakup, she rediscovered what first led her to this craft: curiosity, discipline, and a hunger to tell stories that stay with people long after the credits roll. That rediscovery is the center of who she is right now, and you can feel the conviction in the way she frames her future. Importantly, she didn't erase the love story from her past. She framed it as a stepping stone rather than a shadow. It gave her perspective. It taught her about boundaries, about resilience in the face of chatter, about finding calm in the middle of flashing bulbs. If anything, she seems to hold that time with gratitude for the lessons it pressed into her bones, even as she steps forward lighter and stronger. There's a detail she emphasized that deserves attention: the toll of always being observed. When an everyday moment? Shopping for groceries, standing in a doorway, swapping a joke, gets pulled into the public square, it warps. It becomes material, currency, content. She said that protecting a private corner of her life became essential for sanity. That conscious act of protection is how she found the space to think clearly again, to choose with intention instead of reacting to noise. It's not that the world shouldn't be curious, it's that curiosity can't be allowed to devour the person at the center of it. And let's be fair, the attention wasn't only hard. It was also proof that what they built on screen touched people deeply. The fans who stayed up late to stream episodes, who translated scenes for each other, who turned still images into collages of devotion, they kept something beautiful alive. Hazal's point is that beauty doesn't require possession. We can love the art and respect the artist's humanity at the same time. So, to bring it all together, the revelations Hazal has shared about her time with Erkan revolve around a few core truths. The intensity of being a top-tier couple in the public eye can swallow your sense of self if you don't guard it fiercely. The constant observation made her doubt herself professionally at times, diverting energy from craft towards survival. She learned to re-establish boundaries, to make choices that protected her growth, and to accept that endings do not erase what was real. They simply redirect the story. And through it all, she never disowned the tenderness or the joy. She took the lessons, set down the rest, and walked forward. Thank you for sticking with us through this deep dive into Hazal's perspective. Was any of this a surprise to you? Did her honesty shift how you see the glittering world surrounding your favorite shows? Do you think fame and relentless media attention make it harder to nurture both a career and a relationship? I want to hear everything. Your thoughts, your theories, your experiences as fans who have followed Hazal and Erkan for years. Drop your comments below, we read them all, and your insight fuels this community. If you enjoyed this video, show some love with a like. Share it with friends who still replay Zara and Omer's most unforgettable scenes and who've cheered for Hazal Subaşı and Erkan Meriç from the beginning. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe to Turkish series stars for more exclusive stories, thoughtful breakdowns, and the latest from the world of Turkish television. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.